Yo, the One Piece is real, as confirmed by Oda recently. We not here to talk about that right now, but we are here to talk about One Piece though. One Piece live action season 2 specifically. I've only watched episode 1 of season 2 so far, but after watching that episode, I could say I was pleasantly pleased. Pleasantly pleased. I liked the episode. You know, when I first came into this season, I was thinking, damn, did I gas up season 1? Because I remember liking season 1 a lot. So much so I watched it once and immediately ran it back again. Taking notes, I had a video I plan on dropping on the season, comparing it to the anime. Never got around to doing that. But this time around, we are getting content out on One Piece live action. So stick around for that. I've seen very positive things throughout the whole season. After I get this video out, I'm actually going back to continue watching the season. So yeah, One Piece live action fans, y'all get hyped for that. Like I said, I only seen the first episode of the season so far. I want to talk about the good about it and some of the slight bad that I did not like in this episode. It really was not that much at all. A lot of it is just nitpick, but it's just my personal opinion, my personal feeling. So hate it or love it, like the video, subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, and let's talk about this episode. So first and foremost, I love the intro scene with Baroque work. The Marines look like absolute clowns. Love seeing that, and it really set up Baroque works as real threats that we didn't really get in the anime until Whiskey Peak. Yeah, Vivi and her partner were introduced well before Whiskey Peak. I never really viewed them as threats when they first got introduced. I'm not gonna lie. Now, when Baroque Works pulled up on Whiskey Peak and all the Straw Hats were drunk except for Zoro and he had to fight off all those men by himself, I was like, oh yeah, Baroque Works is coming different. But we're gonna talk about that as Baroque Works is introduced in this season. Another thing I liked was that we had a callback to the agent from Baroque Works that Zoro took out at the beginning of season 1. Something we didn't get in the anime. That's something that I feel like the live action does so well. Is implement things that we didn't get in the anime that makes sense, and then we get them here to kind of differentiate from what we didn't get in the anime. I think this season so far already has taken this to another level than it was in season 1, but we're gonna talk about those moments. Love seeing Miss All Sunday, aka Robin, going in on the Marines early on. The CGI visual effects on her hands, I mean, they're growing on me. But ultimately, some of these things you kind of just gotta look past and just acknowledge that at the end of the day, they trying their best with what they got. Like with Alvida's powers in this episode, just clown shoot, which is funny because they're literally under a circus tent when she's fighting Luffy in Loguetown. But just seeing her slip and slide, the way the camera was moving while she was doing it, just look real goofy. This is nothing to do with the actress playing Alvida. I think she does a great job playing the character. But I just think the devil fruits are going to be super hard to adapt in this series. I mean, Luffy's devil fruit took a while to grow on me from the last season. I do think that they've done better in this season so far, specifically with the Gatling that he does on Smoker. I thought that was elite. But then we also got the pistol that he tries to get off on Alvida, and I'm just like, bro, looks like something out of Spy Kids. But again, like, I know they're doing their best. At the end of the day, it's hard to adapt One Piece. So I think that's where a lot of the reservation when it comes to critique comes from. Because while the devil fruit abilities do look zany, I mean, that's what they are in the anime. Just because it looks dope to see Luffy throw a gum rifle in the anime does not mean it's going to look the same in the live action. So I'm still processing that. I will say though, Smoker's usage of the smoke fruit in this episode, chef's kiss. Love every moment of him using this devil fruit, bro. Like I said, especially when Luffy hits him with that Gatling and you just see him standing there taking it. I think the beat down that Luffy took against Smoker in this episode was more felt here than it was in the manga and the anime. But another thing that I didn't like was Dragon's introduction. I like the build up for it. I like the fact that Nami was able to anticipate the fact that the weather was going crazy early on in the episode. But I was like, damn, no rain after the lightning bolt. I get the One Piece live action is dark enough, but I was really just hoping for the rain during their escape from Loguetown. That's a slight nitpick. Back to Dragon's introduction though. He just looked extra goofy to me. The fit was not as crisp as it is in the anime. And I don't know, he just looks like he's trying too hard to be serious. Kinda how I feel like Inaki be trying too hard to be Luffy at points in time, which I appreciate from Inaki for sure. I just think that, like the devil fruits, it's hard to bring Luffy to life of all the Straw Hats so far because of how goofy he is. You know, the points of time where Luffy is smiling in the anime, when Inaki does it in the live action, I'm kind of like, damn, this is low-key cringe. But again, it's him being as faithful to the character as possible, and I appreciate that. This is a part of the live action that's similar to the devil fruit usage I'm still getting used to. Back to the things I like though. The inclusion of things that we didn't get in the anime or the manga at the time, but that was later fleshed out by Oda later on. For example, Bartolomeo being at Loguetown when Luffy was there, about to get his head sliced off by Buggy. I love how the live action integrated him in this way, manipulating Luffy to the stand, trying to rob him, and then Buggy and his crew end up getting involved. We know what happens from there. Also seeing him get inspired by his bounty poster was absolutely hilarious. I wish we got to see a little bit of his berry fruit, but I think this might be pre him getting that fruit. Nonetheless, love his inclusion in this episode. I also love the mention of God Valley between Garp and Roger, especially with the context of what happened at God Valley and knowing Oda's involvement. Just something cool I thought that they threw in, and it makes even more sense now why Roger trusts Garp to be the one to watch over Ace when it's all said and done. Either way, Ace is probably gonna show up in this season. I'm looking forward to see my boy Zolo Merienda in this season at a point. Also like the Straw Hat interactions in this episode a lot. In the conversation between Sanji and Usopp, then involving Nami, and Sanji convinced Nami, you're finally free from Arlong. Maybe you should go ahead and do a little shopping spree. We could all come with you. We'll get Mossad involved. We'll get Luffy involved. I'm sure he'll be down to go. You got Usopp in the corner like, do we really want to go to Loguetown? You got him trying to convince Luffy not to go, but then Luffy's hearing all the pros of going to Loguetown, including the fact that this is where the Pirate King himself was executed. You already know Luffy's gonna want to go there. Usopp also tries to convince Zoro against this, but Zoro needs some new swords after what happened in the last season. Yeah, absolutely love the vibes between the Straw Hats so far on the season. Looking forward to seeing how a lot of these character moments that we beloved in the anime are executed as the live action continues. I really like how this episode is constructed to where the Straw Hats still got their individual moment, and if they didn't, it was supplemented by interactions amongst each other. For example, Usopp doesn't have the same standoff that he has with Dude in the anime. He convinces Nami to go ahead and buy this map book that she can compare it to the map that she makes of the world down the line. And then Sanji doesn't participate in this cooking competition, but he's assigned to watch Luffy to make sure he doesn't get into any trouble, and he also picks up the same tuna that he cooked in the anime. So still a great callback to that. Even have Usopp carry it talking about Sanji would kill me if I left it. It's just great to see how they were able to condense these moments but still have great moments for these characters in spite of it. I think they just did a great job of fitting what they did in this hour slot in general. Of the Zoro stuff too, him picking out the 2 stores at the sword shop, having to haggle bro to get these 2 swords just ore farming, getting them for free. We love to see it. He still owe Nami interest though. That is crazy work. At the trial that Buggy held Luffy to, even though it really didn't mean anything. Just funny, goofy things like that that are just like One Piece coded. I love the effect of the sea stone cuffs in this one too. Like Luffy genuinely looks gone in these sea stone cuffs. More so than they do in the anime. Like in the anime, they still be leaning. Right here, Luffy is like leaning, like he is done. More things I loved. Usopp using the Den and Mushi in this episode. Smoker's whole character in this episode was elite too. I lied. There's one more thing that I liked about this episode too, was Tashigi and Zoro's fight at the end. I forgot if they fought in the anime, but they really was fighting in this live action for real before Zoro obviously, showed that there was a skill gap and got the hell up out of there. Also, I'm pretty sure this happened in the anime, but Robin extended an offer to join Baroque Works to Tashigi. Wonder what's gonna come from that considering all the changes that this live action is taking from the anime. Finally, the inclusion of Sabo too. Bro, as soon as Luffy and them pull off, you see Sabo in the corner with Dragon. What is he doing here this early? When are we going to see him pop up in this live action? They cannot wait till the time skip to do that, if they even get to the time skip. Let's just focus on season 2 for right now. Overall, elite episode. This season is off to a great start in my opinion. Looking forward to seeing the rest of it unfold. But y'all let me know what y'all think of the season so far. Is it a hit in your eyes? Or do you think that they could be better going into season 3? What are your thoughts in the comments? I've been your host, Chase Hoff. Hope you've been entertained, and we're going to talk soon. Peace out.